bewitched by the eyes of the dead.
Who said anime cannot weave its own Conjuring? A few months back, I brought 10 horror anime, and it seems all of you like to have some nightmares every now and then, don't you? So, to suit your tastes, I brought another 10 horror anime that will scare you in your sleep. I tried to include some underrated shows as well, so stick until the end to add some new anime to your watch list. Without waiting, let's get on to the list. Starting off the list is Blood Sea. Anime has a way of bringing gore into the horror genre to send shivers down your spine. And I don't mean Hellsing levels of gore. I mean gore where the monsters in the anime put loads of humans into a mixture and start drilling them until their blood comes out. It should be obvious that the anime is going to be bloody when you have the word blood in the title. Our protagonist, Saya Kisaragi, who is a peaceful schoolgirl in the morning and a monster slayer at night. But this will go far beyond your average Batman fanfiction, once Saya begins to realize the greater threats her village faces. And these monsters aren't going to be your average walk in the park, especially when you are more focused on devouring humans alive. At 9 we have Deadman Wonderland. Anime doesn't take long to turn a school trip into a bloodbath. When young Ganta Igarashi and his classmates decide to go on a trip, all his classmates are killed and Ganta is held responsible.
What the hell?
Now he is thrown into a prison where he needs to perform various death games in order to survive. Prisons are bad, but the prisons in Deadman Wonderland is something even the worst prisoners wouldn't dream of. You've got the punishment that would result in your death and accidents that don't look like accidents at all. Similar to Blood Sea, if you want an anime that generates its horror from both the suspense and gore, then Deadman Wonderland would fit perfectly into your watch list. At 8 we have Humanoid Monster Bem. Normally we would get to experience the human side of things when we get stories about monsters. But in the case of Humanoid Monster Bem, you explore the other side of the spectrum as you learn the life of 3 monsters named Bem, Bera, and Baro. They visit a rather abandoned city. They find humans living in fear of other monsters. The 3 decide to help humans in order to do good deeds and become humans themselves. Humanoid Monster Bem takes a rather hard take on who's evil and who's good. And you've got the overall suspense of the series, plus the occasional chills and scares it gives you when it comes to the horror factor. Even though it's old, it's a show you definitely shouldn't miss. Up next is Boogiepop Phantom. Have you ever experienced the creeping horror as you struggle to find what's real and what's fake? Well, not to emphasize things too much, but Boogiepop Phantom has a unique way of combining this trope to sometimes send chills down your spine. This anime revolves around the myth of Boogiepop, an entity that mysteriously snatches people away at night. With her now running amok, you can trust no one in the dark. Just think of her as a vampire who kidnaps you instead of drinking blood. It has 2 series, one released in 2000 and another in 2019. No matter the year, if you need some complex stories with mature themes and a rather subtle take on the horror genre, then give this series a watch. Next up is Kemonozume. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How can this child-drawn animation actually scare me? Well, you need to realize experiencing horror is not a simple thing. Sometimes it's all about the visuals, and other times it's about the impact it leaves you as you view it. Kemonozume belongs to the latter. This tragic and dystopian love story between a human and a monster can give you the scares in the moments that you don't expect. It may either be because of the gore, violence, or even the man-monster love that's going on. And if you think the animation is too childish, then ignore that for a moment and explore the full story. You'll soon find the animation actually complements the anime style and the way it delivers the horror as things get more and more dark. Dusk Maiden of Amnesia comes in at 5. Moving along the love stories of the paranormal, we've got the Dusk Maiden of Amnesia next. School horror stories are nothing new, especially with the titles I brought in my first list. But there was one show that I missed sheerly because it's underrated. Dusk Maiden of Amnesia revolves around the myths of Seikyo Private Academy. One of the main characters, Teiichi Niiya, finds a ghost named Yuuko, who is a girl who died in the basement of the old school building. Now joining with her and a couple of Teiichi's friends, the group begins to search about the paranormal activities happening in the school. It's a part love story, part mystery, and full-time horror. So if any of those genres are your pick, this show won't disappoint you. Black Butler takes the number 4 spot. Black Butler isn't your average story of a butler. It's dark, it's brutal, and it's got that subtle horror that runs in the background and emerges from time to time to scare you in your seat. Black Butler happens in the Victorian era and tells the story of Seal Phantom Hive, who serves as Queen Victoria's watchdog. When he was a child, assailants had attacked his mansion and killed his family, then had sold the 13-year-old Seal to slavery. After enduring countless tortures, Seal was rescued by a demon who, in return, placed a sigil in his eye and consumed his soul.
Do you wish to form a contract with me?
I do. Now stop asking these tedious questions and let me know if we have a deal.
The anime follows his adventures with the Phantom Hive household, where he is charged with solving crimes in London's underworld. And by crimes, I mean all things paranormal and scary. I told you, this isn't your average story of a butler. Horror isn't a standalone genre. It comes combined with other genres as a package deal. So what happens when you combine it in an ecchi show? Well, get ready for the most bizarre fan service you're ever gonna see in an anime. The story revolves around Lin Asogi, an immortal female detective who solves supernatural crimes with the help of a mysterious person through a phone. The story's plot even adopts mythological elements about angels who were born out of the tree known as Yggdrasil, and eventually go mad with its power. The visuals of this show are going to be grotesque, risque, and horrifying, and by that alone, I can say that you're heading into a unique experience. The way you handle that experience is solely going to be your problem. At the runner-up spot, we have Blood Plus, the big brother of Blood C. This one came way earlier than our previously mentioned series, and serves as the same premise, but with story arcs branching in different directions from the original. Once again, we are thrown into the life of Saya Otonashi, as she discovers creatures that feed on human blood. She joins the Red Shield organization in order to defeat this beast and free her hometown. But things aren't that easy. Blood Plus may be older than the former series, but it does a better job in terms of storytelling and action. It doesn't fail to deliver the horror in a much better way than Blood C, and this time, Saya's adventures are going to be tougher compared to this anime's remade sequel. Taking the top spot is Monster. You don't always need vampires and evil creatures to bring horror. What gives you horror in human terms? Serial killers, of course. Monster tells the story of a serial killer, but in the eyes of the doctor who cured him. When he has to make a choice whether to cure the mayor or an innocent child, Dr. Tenma chooses the child, losing both his job and status. But to make matters worse, 9 years later, he learns that this child is actually a serial killer and is now going on a killing spree.
I'm guilty, I confess. I want to turn myself in, all right? I'm the one who came in and killed him.
Rather than many other anime in this list, this anime will hit you right in your emotions and has a more thematic meaning and a level of horror that doesn't feel paranormal, but rather human. So with that, our second volume comes to an end. Horror is a rather underappreciated genre in anime, and I hope you found another 10 horror anime that gripped your attention. If I missed anything, don't forget to sound up below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly anime content like this. That said, have a nice day, anime fans, and I'll see you in the next video.